Hey guys, how you doing today? It's me, Kelly. This is a quick video for Serena. She liked my how to make faux leather, recycle and reuse brown paper bags, and she asked me to do gray. So a gray cardstock, so it can be used for a kitchen counter. Now, I don't have gray paper on me right now, but I thought, and I'll pick it up when I go to the store if you still want it done that way. However, wonder if you don't have gray paper. Wonder if you want to do a red or something else than gray. So I thought, you know what? I'm going to take a piece of paper, which is the same consistency as cardstock, and I'm going to paint it with some gray and white, and let's see what we have. So this is Payne's Gray in Liquitex, and it's a very dark gray. So I'm just going to kind of touch it like that. And I'm going to take my big paintbrush. Now you can use a foam brush as well. And I'm wetting it because I want it to go far. And yes, it's dark. You can see how dark that gray is. But what we're going to do is, and I'm not worrying about getting it on my craft sheet or whatever. I'm just going to rock it. Now I'm going to take some white paint to mix in, and then I'm going to spread the rest of this everywhere, as you'll see. So we'll get variation in the gray, and you can wet your brush a little bit more or spray it, whatever you want. And you can see I'm just kind of covering it. Depends on what color gray you want, you know, and that's subjective on what you're doing. But I want it to be lighter, so I'm just going to, and I didn't clean my brush off. I wet my brush, but I did not clean it off. And you can see I'm going to lighten that gray that I used, but I want the variation, if that makes sense. So I'm not pushing wicked hard. I'm not pushing very light. I'm just pushing, and I'm pushing it real good. All right. Should have cleaned the dust off before I started, but hey. Do I do anything like I'm supposed to? No. All right. So I'm just going to dab. I'm just touching it in because I want a little bit more variation, but not too much. Not too much. So I still have that white. And I'm just kind of scrubbing it in. Now, if you have a straight gray color of paint that you want to use, or you're using a piece of gray cardstock or construction paper, whatever you are, that will be perfection as well. Now, I'm going to dry it, and I will be right back. Okay, so it's not dry all the way, but it's dry enough because we're going to wrinkle it. And if you want to do both sides, you most certainly can. I'm going to just tear that off right there. And when it's wet, it does it so much better. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to squish it like this. What the heck is that over there? All right. Okay. And if you can't crumple up, have somebody who has better hands than us crumple it up. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to kind of fold it in half. I'm going to take a little bit of water on both sides, and I'm doing the side that I did not paint. Now, mind you, you can do whatever colors you want. You can do both sides. It doesn't matter. But you see, we want to really squish it up. Pretend like you're little again, and you want to peg somebody in the head, usually your brother or sister, and that's what we want. So you can roll it. You can do whatever you want. It doesn't take that much to do. So now we're going to unroll it. And roll it. And look at that deliciousness. Okay. So now I don't want to flatten it out. If you want to, you can. But I'm going to dry it first. So it kind of holds, you know, a little bit of this. And all I'm drawing really is that little bit of water that I put on it. So I'm going to do both sides real quick. Nothing fancy. I don't need it bone dry, as they say. And the reason you want to dry it is when we straighten it out here in a second, you don't want those all those little cracks and crevices to go away. So now she's going to use this for her counter to do her countertop, which I think is genius. Just make sure that you get some clear polyurethane from the Home Depot, Lowe's, wherever, you know, any kind of store, big box store by you, I guess is what they're called. All right, so you see how I'm doing? I'm just giving it a stretch because she's going to want to, I would rip this in pieces, but anyway, we're going to do something. We're going to go for it now. All right, so we're not going to rip it in pieces yet. What we're going to do is, now, you know what you can do? You can use a darker gray. You know what I'll use? I'll use my Payne's gray. Let me use my Payne's gray. Let me get my, I've been busy doing stuff down here today and did not clean up. All right, I'm just doing a little bloop there. You see the bloop? There's the bloop. Okay, so now I want to take my big brush again, and I'm going to clean it out in the water. I'm going to not dry it. I'm going to leave it wet, but you see what I'm doing here? I'm making this mud, right, with my brush. Look at me go, look at me go. All right. So now I'm going to take my brush very carefully. I'm going to hold it. Remember, hold it up here no matter what size your brush is. And you're just going to take it and you're going to run it over those wrinkles that are sitting there. And it just picks up when you do it very, very lightly. And this is fun to do on ATC cards and your art journal, wherever you want. Now, I can see some of that dark. You can, but maybe you're like, you know what? I want it a little darker. So I'm going to get a ploop of black. And by ploop, I mean a ploop, Cal. A ploop. All right. That'll be ploopy enough. Hit my camera. Okay. And then I'm just going to water that up, right? You can see it's a bit darker. I'm going to do both sides. I'm just using the water out of my brush. Now I'm going to go and now touch a little darker. I'm going to show you one more thing that you can do if you don't want to do this with the brush. Okay, the other thing you can do is, let's see, let me find my, you can take your archival ink or your memento, any type of permanent black ink, and what you do is you just run it over. Now you can see, well, of course you guys know my ink pads are horrible. I really need to get more, but I'm going to dry it because it's a little wet from the water. And it's, look, nothing hurts. If you don't have a heat gun, use your hair dryer, okay? Or leave it sit. Leave it sit for 5 minutes. It'll dry. The heat gun is mostly for embossing. I mean, you can obviously use it to dry, but it's made for embossing. So hair dryer works just as good because you just want to get a lot of that moisture out. I'm not going to play forever doing that, but I'm going to take a little bit of the paint on my finger. If you don't like, see, I like the white spots because it looks like you're going to seal it, but it kind of just makes that look. But if you want to, you know, if you don't want them with your wet paint that you have sitting there, just put it on your finger or Q-tip. Some people don't like to put paint on their fingers. I am nasty that way and I love it. So you just tap, right? You just go in and tap and it'll make them go away for you, and then you don't have to worry about them, like I said. Or use a Q-tip or a paintbrush, whatever you want. Okay, so you see what I'm saying. You can do that. I kind of like the white, but I know somebody will say, well, if I don't like the white, that's what you do. Okay, so it's dry, and you can see all the delicious, look at this. Look how awesome. And if you want to, again, you can go over a little more with the black now that it's dry, because it'll pick up a lot more and won't wash it out. So here we go. I love this. And then I'm going to show you how to glue it down. Okay. So now, mind you, we've not used watercolors. We've used, or water soluble anything. We've only used acrylic paint, which dries permanent, and the memento or archival black ink. If you're doing this in red, you would use the dark red, right, to pick up these. So I'm going to dry this one more second. Just a real quick. And then I'm going to show you. Now, if you want it lighter underneath, you know, use a lighter gray. I love this. I can't stand how much I love this. And this technique makes me happy. And I like to turn it over because now if you're doing the other side as well, you can, you know, do both sides if you want. If you want to just make a mixed media paper, by all means. I'm drying it underneath because it just, you know, that water soaks through. All right, but I think we're going to be good for what we want. No. All right, so look at this. How, let me see if my light would make this better. Nope, it's going to. All right, see? Look how beautiful that looks. Look at that. Look at that. How pretty. Oh, I love it. Look at this. Look at. Imagine if that was your kitchen counter or your bathroom counter or whatever. Okay, so I'm going to leave this like this. And I'm going to take a drink of my water because my throat hurts. And now what I'm going to do is, where'd my thing go? I'm going to make it a background for me, but I'm going to show you. Okay, so maybe I won't use that. We'll use this. Okay. I'm just going to go over a crappy drawing I did to, okay. All right, so I have this. What I'm going to do is we're going to pretend like that's a base to a, you know, your counter or whatever. Mind you, I know it's not. No need to tell me because I know. Now, something that's really cool is Decoupage has gloss, which you can use, a gloss glue and sealer, and I'm going to use that next, but you can use Mod Podge. You can go, if you're doing counters, I would probably go and use your, which I have over there, but you can go use your Home Depot and that kind of thing. Because counters, you know, they're going to be wet, they're going to be this, they're going to be that. This would be great for an old table you want to redo. I mean, it's just fantastic. So I'm going to take glue, and I'm going to glue it down. So I'm just going in, and I want to make sure I get those edges real good. I don't know where my edges are going right now, but I'm just throwing glue everywhere. Because why not? And then decide what way you want it. And then I'm going to do this. Now, what I'm going to do, I'm going to glue. Do you get it? Because my rhymes. Okay. I'm going to take, you can take whatever you have. I'm just going to push this down some. Because you don't want the texture on your counter. Unless you do. And if you do, by all means. And I know this isn't going to stick like I want it because I'm about to put more glue down, but I want to roll it out so whatever glue's down there will stick and get into those crevices. And you see, I'm going both ways because I want it to flatten out, but I still want that look of the texture. You can have texture without having it poofy. Poofy. Okay. Move this up for a second and do this. Oh, look how nice that looks. I love it. Okay. More glue. Gonna lift it up and just go underneath piece by piece. I'm gonna start at this corner, right? This corner. And hold it down for a second. You can sing. I don't know what song to sing. Not in that kind of mood today. I'm in a, okay. And you see how we're doing? And I'm just going to go around, get those corners, lift it up like I'm doing. You're doing this on a countertop. You definitely can use your decoupage to glue it down. Or Mod Podge or whatever your little heart has. Or go get a coupon, go to the store, and go to town. All right, so I'm going to finish gluing this, and then I will be back in a second. Okay, check it out. So all I did was I took glossy decoupage. It's glossy. Now, again, this is a great product. There's Mod Podge. There is gel medium. You can use matte or you can use glossy. It depends on what you want to do. So I have it here. I just used my big brush, put it on there, and I have it on here and I dried it. So you can see how, let me see if this light gets out the way. Can you see when I do it like that, how shiny it is? And the gloss is what protects it from anything. Now, mind you, I do think you should probably go and get clear coat varnish from Lowe's or Home Depot or wherever. But you can see, you can definitely use this if you're doing an art project or you're doing a piece of wood or anything like that. And you just put it down, you put it down, you squish it on there real good, and you still get all that delicious texture. And if you don't want all that texture, keep, using your roly-poly, and, it'll come out a little bit, if you're doing your counters and you don't want it to be so, it's not that bad, but you can see a little bit of the texture, but you can definitely get rid of it if you want. I'm going to use it on a journal page, so I'm okay with it. So that is how I would do it. I would use any color that you have, or that you want to. Like I said, you could do the reds and the pinks. You could do the purples and the pinks. You can do red and purples. You can do brown, regular leather. You can do this gray. I love it. I love it. And I think that'd be awesome for a counter, or atop of a desk or something. And like I said, you put a couple coats of polyurethane on it, and which, you can get the kind that is water soluble, which they're fantastic. And that's what I would do. So I hope that helped you guys. I hope that helped Serena. And let me know, Serena, let me know if you like it. Let me see pictures if you do it. Any more questions, anything else you want to see, all you got to do is ask. And yeah, so I hope this was helpful. And can you dry this with your heat gun? You can. Let me just show you this one little part, so if you guys ask or wonder. I wouldn't advise, if you're doing it on your counter, to do it with a heat gun. I would leave it dry for as long as it says in between coats. But that's how I dried this side here. And you can see, now these will take a little longer because they're in the crevices. So I really dig this. I really, really do. And I love the way it looks. It's hard to really get a good read on here. So I hope that's helpful. And as always, please be kind to each other. You never know what battle somebody else is fighting. And Miguel, please write me. I can't remember which video I said it. I'm trying to respond to all your comments and it won't let me. It just keeps saying that it won't. There's an error. So please look below, and there's my email address, my Facebook, and all that, and get in touch with me, because I never can comment back, and you're such a good supporter, and that kind of thing. So I love you guys. I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.